back to the Rangers News YouTube channel. My name's James Black, and I'm joined again by Cameron Willis, and we're going to have a wee look at last night's utterly chaotic Europa League clash between Rangers and Royal Antwerp in Belgium. Game finished 4-3, but there was so many talking points, from injuries, ridiculous referee decisions, VAR getting stuff badly wrong, and then the madness of the last 5-10 minutes each half. But before we kind of go into the game itself, just want to ask everybody, likes and subscribes. We've just hit 5,000, so we want to really kind of push that on, keep moving on, keep making better content for the channel. So I'd love it if you all click the like and subscribe button, and it'd be great for us. So back onto the game now, the important bit. That was some hour and a half, Cammy, no?
Oh man, it was madness. Like, do you know what was mad, right? So, honestly, I was sitting and watching. I was also buzzing for the match, and I'm getting excited. Rangers are back in Europe, but the first 10-15 minutes or so in Antwerp were kind of trying to dominate possession and passing it about like their back four and that, and trying to get like a foothold in the match. You could not have foreseen this. I was kind of drifting in and out of it, you know what I mean? And then obviously it explodes. I mean, there's so much in it. Like, see, like at the end, like even Ken forces a save for the keeper, which was a good save. He's got down low, and McGregor makes a double save. You know, like ordinarily, Alan McGregor making two match-winning contributions like that would dominate in the headlines, but because it was just so frenzied and bonkers, no, it's not kind of got as much traction. But oh man, what a game! This team just continues to kind of show that kind of bottling mentality, which is so kind of ironic considering that before this was the main thing that opposition fans, etc., and some of our own fans hung over us, and with good reason, because of the second half of the last two seasons. But my God, they're changing a hell of a lot of opinions now, and they just show like steel, determination, creativity, and a great attitude and quality. And I think they're like the kind of 11-man footballing team embodiment of Steven Gerrard. It's very, very impressive what he's managed to do with Rangers on this stage. And I was buzzing last night, man. Honestly, it kind of scraped me off the ceiling. Like, I've actually got a pal who lives up in Aberdeen, and he's got a friend that stays below us, right? And he sent me a message saying, "I just heard you celebrating that goal over a Skype call." I could hear me shouting in Aberdeen, but it was class. It was good. It was great just to have the Europa League back. But obviously there was deficiencies in the performance as well. But yeah, a great buzz that game.
Even before a ball was kicked, there was a bit of reaction on Twitter and whatnot. Gerrard making 5 changes to the starting 11. We went through how we thought the team was going to line up, and I'm probably fair to say that none of us got anywhere close to that. There was a few complete left field selections in there. But do you think kind of it was maybe a wee bit hard to tell with the injuries that came during the first half, but do you think Gerrard actually got it right with those changes going into the game?
I think it was like horses for courses. I think we'd all kind of said we expect them to go full strength. I think the players that did get selected, obviously afterwards he spoke about Ryan Kent having a knock, and that impacted it. But I think it was suitable. It was like suited to the kind of style of play that Antwerp were going to bring and stuff. And I think there was more than a kind of few tactical motivations behind it. But I think they justified it, particularly Rebo outright, obviously got the opener and stuff. So they justified it, and I don't think anybody saw it coming, because I think everybody expected Ryan Jack to start, expected Ryan Kent to start, But now the guys that came in done well. I mean, obviously there was a wee bit of criticism of Kamara Roof and stuff, who looked maybe a little bit flat at times. And Scott Arfield as well, he tried hard, but again, he's just getting back up to fitness. So it was especially interesting to see particularly him starting Scott Arfield. I think a lot of people expected Roof to start, but it was a surprise. But yeah, I think it was justified with how the game panned out, because especially like see domestically, obviously Rangers got a much bigger squad now, and see, when we're playing domestically, sometimes the bench feels like a wee bit of luxury. Like we're playing Hamilton, we beat them 8-0, and we're taking on droves and droves and droves of players off the bench, and it just seems like it's we're just trying to get minutes in their legs, and it's not about them coming on and providing something. Whereas in Europe, you really see that strength and depth, and the fact that if things aren't going away, we've got genuine quality options at Europa League level to bring off the bench. And I think maybe the guys that came off the bench would have been regular, are obviously more regular starters, etc. But no, I think the guys that started had enough about them to kind of get the job done, even if we required substitutes later on.
And then once the game itself actually got going, it was the play itself maybe wasn't the most open, free-flowing stuff, but there was an early controversy with a strong penalty shout for Rangers. The ball coming off our defender's arm, VAR getting involved and thinking there was nothing in it. That was a stone waller, do you think?
I mean, I was speaking to like my pals in the group chat about it, and initially I thought, I thought it might have been harsh, right? And I think the reasons why they didn't give it is because there's no one there. So see, like, there's no one coming in behind them. So see if there was like even like somebody just even, I don't know, 2 meters away from him, I think it might have been different. But I think the reason why they never gave it is because the ball's actually going nowhere. Do you know what I mean? So he's not like stopped it, because he's actually like behind him, if I remember correctly, and he's not like stopped it coming into someone. So I think it probably by the letter of the law was a penalty, you know, so they should have given it. But I think that's the reason why, just because there wasn't AMD kind of coming in. But we should have had a penalty then probably.
And then not a huge amount of time passed before the first of the two injury blows for Rangers. James Tavernier going in for a 50-50 and taking what looked like a really sore one on the knee even. Broke down, got up, broke down again, got up, broke down a third time. It was game over for him. Did you start to think then, you know, we've had the VAR shout thrown out already, you're losing your captain who's got 17 goals to his name for right back. Does it just get the feeling that, shit, it's going to be one of these nights?
I think it wasn't. There was maybe a kind of a wee bit of a feeling about that, a feeling like that, but it wasn't just because of the penalty shout or it kind of more brings into focus the situation with Nathan Patterson, but it was the thing that kind of was making me a wee bit apprehensive was I thought Rangers were sloppy at times. You know, I thought that Antwerp were there for the taking. I thought that over the 90 minutes, and as we go through it, I think that become clear. I think Rangers were the better team, and I think we were clearly the better team. But I thought sometimes we were just a wee bit sloppy and we were a wee bit off the pace, and I think that was making me nervous as well. And then these things were kind of just piling up on top of it, you know. And it was worrying when Tavernier went down.
So Tavernier goes down. Obviously, we've spoke about the Nathan Patterson stuff at length. If you want to kind of see what we thought, we've got another video there that we kind of had words on that one. It was one of those injuries where you could almost have scripted that before the game. It was Tavernier going down. There's no Patterson. You had Jack and Balogun on the bench, but neither are natural by trade right backs. Was Balogun the kind of obvious pick to come on and replace Tavernier for you, or would you have went for Jack and kind of taken that chance? Because I struggled with it. It was because Ryan Jack's one, he's played for Scotland at right back. He's played at Aberdeen in the league and in Europe there. So he's not a stranger to the position. But I would feel that you would be losing far too much potentially further forward. Be shoehorning Jack in there.
Mm-hmm. I mean, I thought it would be Jack. He takes Balogun on. I thought that's maybe a defensive substitution to make sure that we don't lose the game. Maybe that was at the forefront of his thinking, but I think obviously Balogun was nervous, you know, a wee bit because he came in. He said that since he did the press conference this morning, and he said that he came into the match at a really kind of crazy time for Rangers. It was all kind of upheaval, and obviously they're losing their captain. And I think in the second half he really settled into the game, and he done really, really well. For somebody who isn't obviously a natural right back, he wasn't shy in getting in the ball. He showed for the ball. He tried to do that kind of James Tavernier influential thing, and I think that's to his immense credit. As for the Patterson thing, now that it's confirmed, it's a little bit different. But it's imagine you're Nathan Patterson, like, you know what I mean? You're sitting. This is a team that you've supported your entire life. You're sitting watching it from home, and then the captain goes down. You could be on that pitch. Not only that, but I mean, Gers confirmed today that Tavernier's going to at least miss the next couple of games. So he would have the chance to kind of solidify himself at Rangers or to announce himself at Rangers and really running the team, particularly domestically when there's not as much pressure in that. It was literally set up for him, but it's the flap of a butterfly's wings. If Nathan Patterson and co hadn't attended that party, then James Tavernier probably wouldn't have got injured. Do you know what I mean? So it's ifs and buts. But I mean, honestly, the guy really screwed it up because this is a big opportunity. This would have been a big opportunity for him, and it's a tragedy in many ways from many angles for that reason. Because I think Rangers fans would have liked to see him in the next wee period. Now it presents a real problem for us there, but for me, I mean, would you go Balogun consistently there, or would you put Jack in?
I would most likely I'd go Balogun just because I think Ryan Jack brings too much in midfield. I think everything's just that wee bit more solid when he's there. But at the same time, I think looking at what you've got there, Gerrard's kind of got this weird thing where he seems to rotate Balogun and Helander constantly. So it becomes a thing of whether he trusts Helander enough there to play him there every week, while Tavernier's out and keep Balogun at right back, and the potential kind of shortness of options it will leave you defensively. I wouldn't be too shocked if he tried to even throw someone like Jack Simpson in there just to get minutes. I know he's more of a left-sided player, but if you play that wee bit more conservatively with fullbacks, you don't need them to be bombing forward. We just need to keep things solid. Just let them get into the team. We're at a point in the season where domestically it's relatively low risk. Now, I noticed something the other day that Rangers can theoretically not win every game left this season in the league and still win the title. Mm-hmm. So there is a kind of an element where you can afford the gamble. But yeah, I wouldn't be tempted to put Jack there at this stage just because of what he brings further forward. But moving back on the actual game,
I mean, it's a big blow, though. Whatever way you come at it, it's huge.
Did you not find though last night that Rangers kind of settled down a bit losing Tavernier?
Eventually, I think with the fact that we conceded 3 goals maybe speaks volumes to the fact that Tavernier wasn't there. You know, I mean,
looking at the goals himself, I think 2 of the 3 at least were individual errors on the other side. Barisic for one, and Glenn Kamara for the other one. I thought Kamara left his man far too easily. Mm-hmm. I thought, especially maybe the 10-15 minutes after Tav goes off, we tried to get the ball, we tried to just slow the game down a wee bit more, and it was a wee bit less frenetic and a wee bit less, let's throw everything trying to get this first goal and just solidify where we are, consolidate and get to the break. But then 7 minutes before the break, the first goal comes. That was brilliant ball from Goldson, some brilliant play by Morelos, some horrific goalkeeping, and I've noticed it, and I said enough, a really, really good finish for Joe Aribo. So just talk us through the goal itself.
I mean, the Goldson pass is a beauty. You know, I thought it was a wee bit kind of understated in the commentary. I thought it was an absolute beauty. I thought he completely split the 2 defenders, and Roof's done well. Mm-hmm. And obviously we've talked about him getting a wee bit of criticism, but he done well there, and the ball bounces. And then Morelos does amazingly well. I mean, there are so many talking points to this game. It's absolutely incredible. Like, even as we're speaking about it now, it's opening up new things. And I mean, we could do an entire video based on Morelos, but he touches it off to Aribo, and Aribo's finish was calm and composed. And I thought he was calm and composed throughout. The link up between him and Kamara is like they're playing on a 5s pitch. You know, it's really, really good. And they're both technically very, very good footballers. And sometimes when it looks like they're going to lose it, they just manage to get another wee touch in, you know, and just manage to kind of pass the ball off. And it was a really, really tidy finish and a really composed finish, really relaxed. And from there, you're thinking, right, Rangers, that's you. You've got the away goal. You've got a foothold. Let's kind of get to half time.
And then 7 minutes before the break, everything looks pretty good. We get to the 45th minute and there is 8 minutes of absolute chaos that followed. Like, from Antwerp scoring on the 45th minute, there's 8 minutes between their first and second goals, and it's just. I'm struggling to actually put together exactly what happened in that spell.
But I think see the foul, right? I think it was definitely a foul. I thought it was a wee bit of a harsh yellow card. Barisic, I think, had a bit of a poor first half.
I thought he was in the first 45.
I thought it was really, really poor, and he obviously gets caught out for the Avenatti, which is some header. Like there's no doubt about that. Absolute beauty. He just kind of flicks it, and he's a big guy. You know, it was agile, really, really impressive header. And but Barisic loses him, and then Roof goes down injured, and the referee doesn't let Ryan Kent come on because they haven't got the
paperwork.
I haven't got the numbers up on the board or whatever. And then, because of that, he's only added on 4 minutes, I think. But because of that, Rangers have a free kick at one point, which I thought we shouldn't have been able to take. We take it in the box, and then it goes out, and they have a goal kick. And I think the kind of penalty comes from like the goal kick. The penalty, man, right? See, the thing is, you watch it in VR, it looks like it's a penalty. You know, Steven Gerrard touched on that at the end of the game, but this is in the 8th minute. There's only 4 minutes added on. I don't know where they're getting the extra 4 minutes from. It was ridiculous. But the penalty, Stephen Davis clips him, and the boy, who, by the way, he had a very impressive game. The Israeli boy.
Yeah, Rafael.
He set up the first one. And he would move on. He set up the third one, but he scored the second one, obviously, from the spot. But soft as anything. Like, it was so soft, man. It did like an Olympic swimmer, man, dive like in. But you look at it on VR, and I think that it's difficult to argue against it because he makes a contact, and the rule is if there's contact, then it's a penalty. But
it becomes a really big issue for me with VR stuff like that because there is contact, and you could probably argue that it is a foul, but you see those kind of fouls like 9-10 times, constant fouls like that all over the pitch, and nobody ever bats an eyelid at it ever. For it to be a penalty, just then.
I know what you mean.
It's not just a penalty shootout at the end of games. Just scrap the 90 minutes if that's going to be what they're pulling up. So
if it's it's like it's soft, and if it's a free kick in the middle of the pitch, it's soft. You know what I mean? So for it to be a penalty, it's just in a game changing moment, I just think it's a bit. It's a bit. It was a bit extreme, but I mean, it's one of them. The referees called it. You watch it back. They can justify it. So therefore, it's a penalty, and Rangers are somehow 2-1 down. Because I thought Antwerp did not play very well. I thought Rangers, who weren't themselves and were quite sloppy, I thought they still were the better team. Over the course of the first 45, so to go in at halftime 2-1 down was a bit disappointing, but it's a two-legged tie as well. So at that point, I'm thinking we've got the away goal and a fancies against this team anyway. So no matter what happens in the second half, I think we're in a good place.
There's got to be a weird team talk, that one, for Steven Gerrard to give, though. It's been the better team over the first 45. Somehow you're going in 2-1 down, and up to half time. It's probably fair to say that Antwerp didn't really pose that much a threat going forward. I mean, you look at what their 2 goals were. One's a header from, 18 yards, and one's a penalty soft as a baby's first crap. So it's it must be really difficult to go in there and essentially G these players up without telling them, you've been the better team, you deserve to be winning this game, and not then kind of build some complacency in them. So it must have been a really, really difficult one for them. But when you
I think he said at the end of the game that he just basically told them it's not the end of the world, even if it ends this result. We can still hurt them at Ibrox, and just to go out and try and kind of turn it around. But I think they really took the pressure off. I think that was the message that they sent after the game, that at halftime they were just trying to tell them to relax. As well, one thing, see, normally as well, you're playing in Europe, you get teams that it sounds weird saying it with the penalty, but the guys inside the penalty box, I think he's been very smart to win it there. But Antwerp weren't the kind of side that were kind of diving down or trying to frustrate us. I thought they actually played the game. You know, I thought Rangers were better, but I don't think that when Rangers came anywhere near the back of them, they were diving to the floor and stuff. You know, I thought that was to their credit.
Yeah, there's been some games in the last couple of seasons where Rangers, especially away games, I've found, where you're going to countries where either players throw themselves down at the slightest touch, but it certainly wasn't something Antwerp were guilty of last night. And I actually thought there were times where tactically they were getting the better Rangers. I thought the high press early on was it was really limiting how Rangers were coming out and how they were trying to attack. So they do deserve a lot of credit. But then after the break, what were your kind of initial thoughts the first few minutes after the break? Because I thought Rangers looked both very hungry to go out and score, but also very, very sloppy.
I thought there was impetus there. You know, there was effort, and I think that's the big thing, because we started it okay, like you say, but we started it in their half, and I thought from the kind of first whistle of the second half, Borna Barisic really stepped up. I think he did a superb second half. You know, obviously we go on, he scores the penalties, but it's not just that, because before we even get the equaliser, he whips in an absolutely beautiful pass. I think that's the culmination of all the work that we were putting in at the start of that second half. He whips in a lovely cross to Yanis Hadji, and he flashes it wide, which is interesting. That was at 2-1, yeah. So how many minutes was that before they took Hadji on? Just to refresh.
That must have been after that, because Hadji come on 76. Hadji come on.
It must have been after.
It was after, yeah.
I'm confused. It must have been to try to make it 3-2.
Aye. But yeah, so we'll go to the first penalty just before the hour mark.
I mean, Morelos involved again. You know, he obviously palms it off to Aribo, and then, I mean, VAR can save us. But one thing I will say is, why has he not got a red card? It's a clear goal scoring opportunity. He hasn't tried to play the ball, so it's deliberate, and which is a red card. I mean, the double jeopardy thing only saves you if you've made a clear attempt to play the ball. So the referee got it wrong there. He was very lenient, and he should have sent him off. It was a red card, and it was a penalty by the law. But I think if that's given against you, probably a wee bit raging. But he did. Morelos played it really well, and the team did well to highlight it. And yeah, I think it was a penalty by the letter of the law, but he should have been sent off.
With Tavernier already been off at that point, were you surprised that Barisic stepped up?
I thought it'd be Morelos. I thought, because he's taken it ordinarily in the place of Tavernier, but he obviously missed that one against Celtic last season, so I don't think he's getting back on them anytime soon. But obviously Barisic is a great left foot and a great striker of the ball, so you shouldn't really be surprised. I'm sure he would have taken Osijek's penalties before, you know, and he obviously takes free kicks. One
of the weird things about it is, anybody that plays Football Manager, Borna Barisic, like, the game will default set him to take penalties because he seems to have the best stats in the entire squad. Mm-hmm. I know it's very subjective and whatnot, but
I know I've done the research.
Interesting angle there that, you know, somebody's seen something somewhere previously where they've kind of bummed them up on this, and they get his opportunity, steps up twice and buries them twice.
Do you think the keeper should have saved the first one though? I think the keeper screwed it up.
I'm not so sure. I think it was a good penalty, but that keeper though. We need to talk about him just a wee bit, because
he's their second string though. Their main guy's a guy called Juan Butes or something. I think he's out for the season, so he's our second string. But he was hopeless. Made Vasilis Barkas look like an international goalkeeper.
I mean, it was weird as well because he got injured. I'm sure it's just before.
With the Aribo one. Yeah. Aribo slips in and it gets cleared off the line. There's so much happened in this game.
And then he took like 20 minutes or something to actually go, I'm done now, guys. But it's just one of the biggest frustrations about that last night was we seen how bad that keeper was, and there wasn't enough shooting from distance for me. Especially once guys like Hadji did come on, because we've seen for Hadji quite a few times that he's not afraid to say, okay, I'm going to have one. Mm-hmm. But no, there was nothing of that last night. And I felt they could have possibly put the game to bed a wee bit earlier if they had.
I thought that too. I was saying that. I was thinking that at the time. I was like, you need to get more shots in at that goalie, because not only that, but he was still on the pitch after apparently being injured. So he goes down and he's like rolling about after that, because he does do the splits. It looked very
It looked a sore.
It looks so, and he stops. No, he doesn't stop it. Aribo still rolls it past him. I think it was going wide anyway, but the defender clears it. But from there he's down, and then the commentary team, I think, said that they didn't have a replacement goalkeeper ready.
And then showed him warming up.
and then he got warmed up. He would eventually come on, that goalkeeper, who's a third choice goalie. Such a peculiar match, but he went off, but he was flapping all game. He was struggling, that keeper.
So shortly after Barisic makes it 2 each, they score again. Martin Hongler scoring. I must say it was a really nice finish.
It was.
He had a lot of time and space to get a shot away, but it was a really nice finish. And I felt for me it was too many individual errors. And it's been a big thing if you look through Rangers' European campaign this season. It's either an absolute worldie somebody scores or somebody sells the jerseys.
Mm-hmm.
There's never particularly goals where teams will just break down Rangers in a defensive play and just outplay them. If somebody makes a bollocks of it, and this time it was Glenn Kamara for me was guilty.
Mm-hmm.
It got dragged far too wide to the right and left Hongler just all the time in the world just to curl one away from McGregor.
That was what was most disappointing for me. Is the amount of time that the guy seemed to have to pick his spot. And it was a lovely finish. You can't take it away, and McGregor's got no chance to save it. But I thought they had too much time, and even when they scored that, Rangers were on the ascendancy. You know, you thought Rangers were going to go and do it, and oh my God, another goal conceded, and then we were up against it again.
Literally, as he scored that, because I done the match report last night on the website and doing that, I'd literally written out a line about how Rangers had taken control of the game. They deservedly got back level, and they were very much on the front foot looking for a third to take the lead. And I looked down at the laptop for a second to check something, looked up, I was like, bollocks. And it summed up the whole night for me, I felt. But weirdly, when I watched that one go in, I still felt every bit as confident that Rangers could still win that game.
So did I.
24 minutes left. The 3-2 down away from home. There was no point where I sat and thought, shit, we're going to really need to do it at Ibrox next week. I still felt at least a draw was very, very much on the cards, and getting a win was definitely plausible.
Mm-hmm. So I'd agree with that. I thought that as well. I thought we've still got a chance here. I never once thought that, oh no, that's it, it's game over. We're going to have to. They were wide open, you know, and so were we at times. But it made for an entertaining match. But I'm the exact same. I thought that we'd get at least a draw at it.
And then we drew level a wee bit. The whole stuff about the last 10 minutes is just so utterly mental that I'm just going to just skip this chunk, you know. Ryan Kent.
Oh man.
How did you think he'd played up until that point after coming on?
I thought he'd done all right. He's shown for the ball. You know, the usual. He done all right without doing amazing influencing it massively in the final third. He'd obviously get another chance later on, and I think they're the two big chances that he had. But that was just absolutely unbelievable. I mean, from an Antwerp point of view, you're probably frustrated that you haven't either taken him down or blocked him from running when he does that wee kind of step over back turn the first time he goes round. But for me, it's just such good low centre of gravity. It just looked like he was in complete control of it, balancing, swaying, moving. And then again, Alfredo Morelos is involved, you know, and it was such good link up between the two of them. You know, it's like that whole thing about good players playing together. You know, it was just, they knew exactly what each other was going to be. And Morelos deserves huge credit because, in fact, we're not going to go back, right, because there's so much went through, but we didn't even mention Morelos missing that one night at the start. And by the way, he should be scoring that. I've got no idea why he tried to put it in the near post. He should be going round them. But the Kent goal, for me, like shades of like Eden Hazard, man. It was like so good. It was just honest to God, he was just turning and moving and then shimmies his kind of shoulders round and the defender can't get near him, and the finish is emphatic. It was a top quality goal and shows you the kind of class that Kent's got at this level.
I mean, it's such a important point in match, I think, because there was 7 minutes to go when Kent made it 3-3. For me, I was confident they were going to go on at least and push for a winner. Do you think if it had maybe come just a couple of minutes later, though, would have been looking at a whole different kind of set of circumstances, a whole different finish to the game? Because I think with 7 minutes, it gives you that kind of enough time where you don't know how much time this mental referee's going to add on at the end anyway. It could be an hour and a half if you want. But you've got almost 10 minutes anyway to kind of really just throw everything at Antwerp. And how well do you think Rangers just really kind of took the game by the scruff of the neck, that last kind of 10, 15-minute period?
It was great to see, because we were going for them. We really smelt blood, and we were really kind of trying to kind of create them openings. Obviously, Kent forces that save for the keeper, which I thought was a good save. And then we're really kind of forcing the issue, and I thought, again, sums up everything. Because it came to fruition and because we eventually get the winner, I think that it sums up everything that's good about this kind of Steven Gerrard Rangers team, particularly when our backs are against the wall. And I think we were just going for it. There's absolutely no need to be doing that, really, though, because, I mean, we scored 3 away goals. Do you know what I mean? We could take a 3-3 draw. We score once at Ibrox and they need to score twice, but even now, they need to now come to Ibrox and score twice. It's really unrealistic, I think. Or at least score 2 more than this unless they manage to win 4-3, which I just can't see a repeat of. But I mean, it was admirable. And like I say, it was a 2-legged tie. So you're looking at it thinking, is it necessary? But we were going for it. We were gunning for it. But after that save, obviously the ball goes back down the pitch. And like I say, I touched on it at the beginning, the Alan McGregor double save, which was very, very impressive. The first one, Aribo sells the jerseys, doesn't he? He kind of palms it out to him, and the boy starts bearing down and goal. And no, not another one. And McGregor, I mean, the boy probably should have finished it better, but McGregor's concentrated. He makes the save. It's no surprise that he continues to make these saves. Do you know what I mean? You can't take it away from him.
Just in case the referee hadn't been involved enough by this point, there was a red card still to come. We've still not even finished the goals yet, but we've still got a red card to go. Abdoulaye Seck sent off a couple of minutes in normal time to go. Second yellow card. No complaints there, no.
No. I mean, the Rangers team at the time, right, I don't think had noticed that there was a yellow card because there wasn't that much of like a kind of stramash. And Ryan Kent had kind of like huffed himself away thinking that he just kind of shot and it was deflected. But the referee, to his credit, didn't even need VAR. He noticed it straight away. But even just before that, there was another save from McGregor that he kind of palmed it. And then Ryan Jack clears it off the line from Richie Delat. And then we go down the pitch. And it was madness. We go down the pitch and Kent shoots. Again, it was Morelos. He's involved in the goal. Morelos squares it to him. And then it was a guy had deliberately handballs it, but he had done it quite slyly. But like I say, I thought VAR obviously would have caught it, but I thought the referee done well to notice it in the first instance. Like I didn't notice it, and I don't think the Rangers team did. So a stonewall penalty because he's put his hand in the way of the shot. Don't know where it was going to go, but up steps Borna Barisic.
And Rangers Mr. Admin on Twitter gets to dig out everybody's favourite tweet. Penalty to Rangers.
That's it, man.
But so it's 90 minutes. Barisic steps up, makes it 4-3. And even then, the drama's still not finished. And by this point, I was tearing my hair out last night doing the match report. Like, how
are you going to fit it in? You know, you can write a dissertation on that game, man.
I think I hit 2,000 words last night.
It was wild. There's so much.
Normally do 500. But so Antwerp brought on Mayoshi, final couple of minutes, and he cracked the post from distance.
What a strike that was, by the way. Oh my God.
I had visions of that going in. That was like I was saying earlier on about the teams only scoring, players make a bollocks here or an absolute worldie. That was going to be the absolute worldie. And somehow they got the bit of luck.
I know.
The McGregor's post and goes away. And I think that was then where it finally was like, this is it. It's now, it's done, it's dusted. We can relax a wee bit.
Oh, man, relax. Jesus, as high as a kite after that game yesterday. Honest to God. It's like I was waiting for everything to come out, waiting to watch it again. It was a lot. It was exciting. It was really entertaining. I'm glad that we managed to get the win at the end of it, because I think we deserved it. But given the circumstances of the match, it makes it even more kind of impressive and mental that we've came out the other side of it with the victory, and hopefully that kickstarts us a wee bit, because I mean the contrast is insane. We've been watching 1-0 wins and stuff and played against 2 banks of 5 for the last few weeks and months, and Rangers haven't exactly inspired a lot of the time. Even though we've got the wins, we haven't been at a kind of best as we were in that midpoint of the season. So now you're hoping that the freneticness of this match, the madness of this match, and the adrenaline from it helps us find our feet again, and creates a competition in the squad where they think, oh, we need to play well in order to be starting against anybody in Europe if Rangers are to go through it the next round, or even next week against Antwerp at Ibrox.
And speaking of next week, with Antwerp coming to Glasgow for the second leg, how do you approach that game now?
I think you just go and do the same thing. You go and win it. You go and try to kill it off early, and you set up to win it, and you set up to score goals. And I think the same way that they set up in Belgium, I think it'll be similar. There might be a few changes in terms of personnel, but I think it'll be the same message. Go out, try and get an early goal, try and get in front. And it's a long way back for Antwerp. If we get in front, they need to go. They need to then score 3 goals at Ibrox. You know what I mean? I think it's a tall order for them. But we have shown in Europe this season that we can ship quite a lot of goals in matches. When it's 3 against Benfica, 2 at home to Benfica, 2 against Liège at Ibrox, and now 3 in Belgium. So I think maybe there's something to work on there with regards to defending at this level, because we're normally so reliable and so studying. We have been as well in Europe, but if we are to go further in the competition, I think that's the area where we really need to get knock our heads together and make sure that we're focused. Because I mean it's difficult though. I mean it's hard.
Do you think that's kind of just a result of it's been what we're looking? 12, maybe a bit longer, maybe 16 weeks or so, I think, roughly, from the last European Games. With the greatest respect to 90% of the teams in Scotland, it's a big jump up. And you think that just kind of told in the way that there was certain kind of defensive slackness, wee bits early on in the game where players would lose their men and kind of wee lapses in concentration. Just kind of the issue of being a big fish in a small pond as such.
I think so. I think it just took them a wee while to get up to speed, but I think, like I say, that adrenaline will be coursing through their veins, and there maybe be a heightened focus next week when Antwerp come to visit. I think Steven Gerrard touched on it after the match as well. He said that it's a considerable step up, and it is. But I mean, you don't want to get ahead of yourself. You don't want to get excited. But obviously, Rangers are going to win the Europa League now.
Gdansk yet then?
Sorry, man.
You've not booked your flights for Gdansk yet?
Yeah, no, man. It's so exciting. But I mean, obviously, like I say, without talking about us winning it, but in the next round, you know, and then thinking what's going to happen, that just all depends on the draw. But we need to get there first. You know what I mean? We still have to take care of that job in Antwerp. And I think the fact that they scored them goals and what Steven Gerrard was talking about in terms of the step up in quality and what you says there, I don't think that you can be complacent. Period. So, exciting, very, very fun, and hopefully our names in the next round. But I look forward to that game at Ibrox as well, because it's a test for Rangers, and it's hopefully one that we'll stand up to.
So just to put a nice wee pretty bow on the first leg, who was your man of the match? I think I know who you're going to say, but
I mean, yeah, I give it to Borna Barisic for being a match winner, a few folk, but I would give it to Morelos. You know, I mean, I think he was outstanding without scoring, and he was involved in every single goal. And let's say I think Barisic is a poor first half, but Morelos should have scored, obviously, right at the beginning, but he was outstanding. Like, it just shows you how much you miss him. When he's not playing, he's so selfless. And I think there's been people that played with him previously have talked about how he's maybe not like as much of a natural finisher as what you would think, or his goal scoring record would suggest. But he's always in the right place. He's got a real game intelligence, and it's not just about him being in the right place to be somewhere to finish. It's him being in the right place to anticipate a pass, or to link up with somebody, and he's really, really, really impressed me in that regard this season without hitting complete top form. But I think he's developed as a player, and his role in this team is imperative to us making an impact in Europe. And I thought, just because of the selflessness, I'd give it to him. Who would you give it to?
Morelos for me. It was both him and Barisic in the player ratings both got 8, but I thought Morelos showed exactly why Gerrard puts up with so much of the shit that Morelos puts Gerrard through. Because as good a technical footballer as Kemar Roofe might be, or as tricky a winger as Ryan Kent might be, I don't think there's anybody at Rangers that brings as much as an all-rounded player to the side as Morelos. He bullies defenders, he scores goals, he runs the channels for others, he brings other players into play. His hold-up play is fantastic at times. And for me, I personally think he's a very, very underrated footballer. Just in this country in general, I think his overall ability is hugely underrated. And a lot of folk just think him as this wee kind of hustle and bustle striker that scores a shitload of goals. Mm-hmm. For me, he's much more than that. And I think last night was a really big example of it.
No, I think it's spot on. I couldn't have summed it up any better. I do think he's underrated to a certain extent, because strikers are obviously judged on goals as well, but he offers so much more. And I mean, he's only 24, and you're talking about the guy, what's going to happen next with him and stuff, and I mean, he's developing into a very, 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 very good player, and a very well-rounded player. And he's just got great technique, and he's so much more than just a striker, just a goal scoring striker.
Magic. Well, to wrap it up there for this review of the win over Royal Antwerp on Thursday night. We'll be back tomorrow with a video to look at this weekend's clash with Dundee United in the Scottish Premiership. But before that, please remember to like and subscribe, and thanks for watching.